Hello and welcome. I'm Jess with Guided by Equus, and I'm here with your Horse Wisdom energy forecast for the week of November 4th. Behind me I have Dandy and Fancy. Dandy was born into our herd, and he has since moved on to his new home, and Fancy's here actually so that they can be together to produce a 2020 foal. And she's been here for a couple months, and it's time actually that she come home now. But what's interesting is that because of her past life before she came to me, she held a lot of trauma and was very protective of herself. So in order to have her load, this has to be her choice. And even with haltering, she's not very particular to that unless I'm in complete right relationship with her. And so it's almost this exploring of where this relationship needs to move into to find a new way to connect, or a greater connection point, I guess, for her to come home. And just taking a deep breath. On the way over here, I guess the energy of the week, and if there's words, it's like the forecast is in the connection. And so, and it almost feels like kind of a telling of the future this week in where we find ourselves searching for or wanting to create connection. And with that, just to kind of feel into your body with that and what that means for you. And that Fancy is supporting this. And it was interesting the last time I showed up, because I'll show up and work with her a little bit, or see if I can find that relationship. And she presented her side to me and allowed me to lay my hands on her withers, on her shoulder, and on her chest, which is something that's never before happened in our relationship. And she invited me to do that. And I feel like that was kind of a big breakthrough, and that there's little breakthroughs happening all across this journey, but that this week it feels like that word breakthrough is really going to be a part of our life this week. So I would love to hear back from you, and actually it feels like I'm going to also bring through the Horse Wisdom Revelations Oracle, and I will share possibly as a follow-up to this video, I will share a card that will help support the energy of this week. So this is in addition to Fancy's wisdom, to share with you the process after I had done the Horse Wisdom video with Fancy and Dandy. I stepped into the trailer and just waited for her. And her and I had been doing a lot of interactions, like I said before, in our relationship. And I finally said to her, I said, this has to be your step. She's a horse that really came to me and had a huge bubble of protection around her due to some trauma in her life, or multiple traumas, because she's such a sensitive mare. And even as I'm saying it, I understand that I had that same thing going on in my life in order to protect myself, and that empathic and intuitive sensitivity that comes or is part of who I am. And so it's interesting that even as I'm sharing this with you, she came to me, and I began to understand that it was my own. It was a reflection, and also I believe that she needed support in order to let her past go. So yesterday, inviting her into the trailer, and she finally she came back and forth to the doorway of the trailer, and I just kept saying, Fancy, this has to be your step. And finally she put her head down and stepped right into the trailer and just stood there and began to relax. And for the second time, she invited me to pet her neck and her shoulder and below her withers, and she just really relaxed in that space. again, because my good friend who owns Dandy was also there with us, and she was the one who took the picture that you previously saw. And it was almost a collaboration of all of us holding space for each other to let go of the past. And so, taking a deep breath, if that is your experience of what's happening this week, and I know I had said the word breakthrough, and to me, what happened with Fancy was a miracle, a breakthrough, because she came into my life in 2014. And now, finally, 5.5 years later, and I suppose I could have done things different with her, but what I kept getting was just give her space and give her time, because when you have that much trauma, nobody but you can move yourself through it, and it's really just that that availability for everyone to hold the space for you to feel safe enough to move through your own process of it, to then feel safe in your own body and with those people or those animals. So I'm very excited to see where Fancy and I's next adventure or next step in the relationship is. But with that, I also have the HorseWisdom cards that I have created. They were part of all of the more than 50 Morgan horses in my life that came into my life starting in 1991. And they have helped me be able to tune into this aspect of animals and humans, and channel the energy as information, I guess is the best way I can put it. I just tune into a number of different fields and provide information that often is useful to the person or to the person and their animal in a way that supports a growth, a deepening, a more sacred relationship. And so with Fancy, this is Fancy's card. And Fancy's wisdom for us, in addition to the story that I just shared, she activates to inquire. When one aims to accomplish something, even with the best of intentions, there is a connection lost in translation as defined by the original intent. When we can offer our intention to receive, connection comes through the universal definitive action of pausing, as it is then that we find the true message in the meaning and feel the connection to the original intention. The breath is the form of life that sends forth the word unto you. To feel is to know the truth and breadth of the word in the world. We live in a realm where information is light and touch is a derivative of the application of perceiving. To feel is to recognize the essence of another. So Fancy's invitation: when you find yourself at a crossroads, take a pause and tune into the feeling. Your curiosity and perceptive state of inquiry will become your greatest guide. And really and truly, my whole journey with Fancy up to this point had been a huge pause, and every time I felt like I needed to initiate something, she would show me that it's not the right time. And so when I finally released that and stepped back and became the space holder again, she was the one that took the step to initiate connection. And so if I tie this all back to the wisdom of the week, that word breakthrough and connection were really highlighted to me yesterday. And so I would love to hear your experience of what this week offers to you in your own breakthrough maybe, or a connection that will help you break through in this month of November, because it feels like this is a supercharged month, but it's like there's lightning bolts striking is the image I just got. And so with that, there is connection, but sometimes those connections kind of illuminate or blow things up, but still that connection is creating a breakthrough in a way that is really helping us recharge, is the word I just got. Recharge our sacred connection to ourselves, to those that we care about most, to our work or essentially our sole purpose in the world, because our work is, we move it through ourselves in everything that we do, whether that's parenting, our job, our passion, our pleasure pursuits. So I love that this all kind of came together in a really beautiful way this week, and I invite you to, if you're interested in having more horse wisdom in your life, join the Journey of the Oracle, which is the journey of sharing each one of these cards in a way that you guys get to be part of the experience and offer your own insight. And eventually, come next year, after my Fools from 2020 are born, this card deck will be available in a professionally published form rather than just this prototype that I've created. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out the link below, and I really look forward if you just continue to watch these videos and receive something from them, or if you decide to join me in this journey. So much love to you guys from myself and the herd, and we will see what next week brings.